Hey guys, Stream Vamp here. This series, Behind the Room, is a series that I'm starting up where I will interview people who I've made custom rooms with, and we will just talk about the process, and we'll look at the file together, and just share our thoughts about, how we thought it went, and relive a little bit of the experience together. So I hope you guys enjoy this series. This first episode is with WEAVENNN. I'll link all his socials in the description. And just sit back and relax. All right. So yeah, you're the first person to ever meet me face to face.
Really?
Yeah.
No way. That's an honor.
Hey, an
honor.
I've been lying low, just doing my thing, but the time has come. So I know you're tired, so we won't take too long. You can just chill though, honestly. We're just
Oh, I'm chilling. I'm
good,
big chilling.
Good. I got a glass of whiskey here. So
Hell yeah.
yeah, so
Hell yeah.
So here's your room right here. Of course. Just to give anyone who's watching a little overview, WEAVENNN and I did a custom project, and this was the result. So all his favorite shit were in space. There's a lot of detail in this room that you wouldn't get on first glance. And so we're going to go into the actual project. Are you ready to see what this behemoth looks like under the hood?
Yes, I would love to see it.
All right. Can you see this?
Oh my lord. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
It's like another dimension.
Yeah, man. It's
Holy hell.
It really changes. It changes what you see when you go into here. So this is just the camera view. So this is what, the same angle as you'd see from here. So I'll just show you around. This is the whole scene.
This is like a map on Halo. Holy hell.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. This is one of the bigger scenes that I've done. There's so many lights. All these little things here. These are all lights. Yeah. And all these little black lines everywhere, they're just lights everywhere. So many lights. It's huge. The inside of this place.
It's like ray tracing.
Yeah, it's like an airplane hangar in here.
Yeah.
But so if I go to rendered view. Oh, she hurts the PC, I'll tell you that.
What kind of GPU you're running to do all this?
3080.
Jeez. That's getting work.
Yeah, man, I've got a oh. I thought I crashed. I've got a 3080 with 32 gigs of RAM and a 5800X, and it still takes 12 hours for me to render your room.
Jesus. I know. I remember at the end there we had to do a few extra ones, and you're like, well, see you tomorrow.
No, literally, dude, I'd wake up in the morning and I would hit the render button, and it would go for the whole day, and maybe before bed I'd send you a sample, or it would just go all night. But that's just how it be sometimes. It don't run good in render mode, but it runs okay actually. But yeah, so I'm going to ask you a few questions so we can go into a little detail and sort of relive the process, because it was a good process. We had a good process to it, and it took a while, but we're patient. There was no rush. We were trying to just get it done right. So initially, where did you get the first ideas for your room? When you're just sort of laying in bed thinking I think I want to get a room done. What sort of guided you towards something like this?
So I can give you a real short answer, right? And it's Evo Gaming 48.
Oh yeah.
His room sparked my interest in stream rooms. I had seen virtual rooms before, Dr. Disrespect had one, a couple other big streamers have one.
Yeah.
And the appeal really didn't dawn on me until I saw his room, because he worked with you as well for his room. His he had some custom aspects to his room, correct?
Yeah, for
And
sure, for sure.
and he had his car in there. He was spinning. It was exact car, color, make, model.
Mm-hmm.
It just looks so clean. The the scene didn't seem to like repetitively loop. It seemed very very dynamic, and you couldn't notice that it wasn't just like a live scene running. And
Right.
I was like, so where'd you get that? And he goes, Vamps, and he pointed me in your direction. And he goes,
Right.
tell
Right.
him I sent you. Look at his templates, look at the work he does, and just talk to him. And that's kind of really drove me to start asking the questions to you. Was his room, your work with his room, and I saw it on a stream, and also the templates that you did for Cyberpunk
Oh
were
yeah, Cyberpunk.
phenomenal. Were phenomenal looking when I went to your site, right?
Yeah.
So it was a few different things. It was always an idea in the back of my head, not a rush, until I saw the work you had done for people, and then I was like, I want this. Like, this is great. This is a perfect place for me to leave my community, right? When I have to go take a break for a sec, or watch other content, or just show them my personality. Because me sitting here on cam, just chatting right here, I mean, you gotta listen to my mouth. With this, you just show up and you're like, wow, this guy is into sexy cars, old school FPSs that really were groundbreaking at the time, Star Wars, Avengers, Captain America, the whole Marvel
Mm-hmm.
Cinematic Universe, and this guy's in outer space too. Like, he's a nerd, right? I just wanted it to reek of nerdness, and
Yeah.
and that's what this essentially accomplished, and 10 times more. If you would have asked me when I started with you what I envisioned, it wouldn't have been this good.
Yeah. So that's all awesome stuff. That leads right into the next question perfectly, which is, were you skeptical at all about, what might happen? Because this, there's not very many people doing this. It's pretty niche market. You got to see Evos, but what were you thinking? You think I'd be able to execute this? Did you think we'd actually be able to link up and get something that you really, you like as much as you do now?
I definitely saw the potential to make something great. I think it was the first shot you sent me. I wasn't skeptical, but it was far off of what I wanted to start at.
Mm-hmm.
So right after I sent you the first notes on the mod, right, the modifications to the
Right.
first room, right after I sent you those first notes, when you sent a product back, I had the utmost confidence in working with you and getting great things done, right?
Right, for
Because
sure.
I think it was the first room that was like smoky, and like the
Mhm.
lighting wasn't right, and then the car, like, there's a bunch of different little factors that I was like, okay.
Let's see, is this the one? No. I'm trying to
It
see
was
if
like
I
the
can
very first
find.
one.
I don't
Yeah.
always keep them because sometimes they stack up. I don't think I have it anymore. It's in the email somewhere.
Yeah,
But
and I had lost track in the
Mhm.
emails, but
No, I
know
remember it
was the
had like
first-
it had smoke, and it's not always easy. Like the first sample is always hit or miss.
Mhm.
It's either you get it bang on, or it's off by quite a bit, but the foundation is there. And so in this case, we had a lot of tweaks to make. But in the end, like the room that you see now is the one we started with, just with different character placement, totally different lighting, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure you'll ask more about this later, but down to the very granular speed of the rotation of the Earth, like
Yeah.
we were talking about some crazy stuff.
So if you remember at one point, do you remember when the sort of there was like a lot of graininess and like sort of flickering on everything?
Speckles, yeah, little specks, yeah.
Speckles. So that was actually a bug in the engine, and I had to. So when you noticed that, I was like, "Wow, that's weird. Like that shouldn't be doing that." And that was actually a bug in the engine, and so I had to like redo how I did the earth and the background because
Wow.
yeah, but that was good because I actually didn't know that it could happen. Basically, I was using a function in the rendering engine that no longer was supported, and it caused essentially reflections from the outside of this building to reflect on the inside when they shouldn't have been. So it was just a weird little thing, but you were finding bugs in the engine.
And it was very interesting that what I noticed, the speckles, because it almost gave it like a grainy film appearance, you know, like an old school, like, you know, you'd see like the black dot
For
appear
sure.
on the tape roll that runs the film, right? It
Mhm.
gave it like a kind of feel to that. So I thought it might have been part of the idea of the room, but then I was like, wait a minute, this is a little weird. So I better
Yeah.
ask him about it.
So I think what ended up happening was like it was grainy because I had adjusted the reflection settings in order to get Scarlet right. Because I remember you saying there was like too much reflection on Scarlet and whatnot, and so I was like, I see that. So I went and got rid of it, and in turn, I adjusted the reflection settings so much that other things started to pop up, which is why as we went on, you started to be like, wait, why is there grain there? Because I'm pretty sure it wasn't there in the beginning, or it at least wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
So no,
Yeah,
it was
I
it's
remember
it's just part of the process, honestly. Just these funny little things come up, but yeah, no, they're never too bad to resolve. So, what did you think the most challenging part of this entire project was? You know, the two of us working together. Of course, I'm the one doing it, but I'm very much sort of just, you know, in the driver's seat. You're kind of telling me where to go. So, I think you'll have a good idea of what the most challenging part of this whole thing was.
I would say for me, so working with you back and forth over a long period of time, I don't see that it wasn't challenging at all, even though, you know, it took we did this for almost 3 months, you know.
Yeah.
The most challenging part to me was the limitations of character models. And I think we talked about this because eventually we hit a wall where you're like, you're going to pay for Hollywood-esque character models.
Yeah.
And if it gets to that point where you're not satisfied, here's the character models, right? You gave me like the website, and you're like, some of these things cost, like, these are like movie quality character models. And you only have so much power to do what you can do, and that was a challenging aspect for me, but it was understandable at the same time. You know, you can only get so much that is out there for less expensive until you're like, okay, these are professionals who do this for a living, and they're charging $600 for a character model or more, and it's like, yeah, that was challenging to me.
Yeah, you know, that's a great point, actually. Characters are tricky if you can't find them. You know, I basically have to buy, and you know, with copyright and stuff, you always want to make sure you're buying characters that are made where someone, you know, gives you the license to use it. But like you said, if you're not satisfied with like the $0 to $100 price range, it really goes up from there, like doubles and triples in price. Kylo Ren was specifically challenging. He's got a lot of elements to him that are quite unique. If you notice, you can actually see his saber. So the broken crystal effect isn't like the actual blade. It's actually just an effect on top of it.
It's an effect on top of the blade. How did you get that in there?
So I'll show you a little bit of what went into the effect on his saber. It's actually extremely simple. It's like it's basically a party trick. So this is sort of how you do materials and textures in Blender, which is the program that I use. Basically, all we have here is essentially, it's called color ramp, and it's just black and red, and sort of the blacks, the black parts on here you can see, and then the red parts you can see just come from this. It's plugged into an emission, which makes it glow. I've got it on at a good strength. And then this noise texture is what creates the actual like saber effect. So if I move this, which is just the timeline, you can see how his saber's like, it looks like it's fracturing, basically. Yeah. So if I unplug this, it's just flat red. So this actually drives the effect on the saber. But it's just funny little tricks like that maybe if you had the camera, right here, you could notice that his saber was not perfectly fracturing like it would in the movies. But, back here, it looks pretty darn good.
Oh, it looks great. And it even reflects off the ground next to it. That was a huge thing. The lighting, every piece of lighting you do interacts with the environment, which is why I referenced like ray tracing earlier, because you have like different light sources interacting with this environment that you don't typically see in lesser quality work, in my opinion. Just like the saber ricocheting off the glossy ground.
And so I'm gonna share a fun fact with you. This rendering engine is not ray tracing. It's actually like just a normal game engine. Basically, the ray tracing rendering engine in Blender, it's another rendering engine called Cycles. It would take me so long to render this scene in Cycles, like it would probably take 2 weeks to render in Cycles. Like, I would press render and it would not finish until like mid-March, basically. Because that's how long ray tracing can take. And so all of these things that you're noticing are actually me faking ray tracing. So this light here, this is a red light that I added. If I press H and hide it, you see there's not as much reflection off of his face.
Yeah.
And so you can fake, and that red light also enhances the reflection on the ground. So there's a lot of things that are faked in these scenes because you wouldn't be able to render stuff with like, this much animation in a reasonable time frame. This still took 12 hours, and this is supposed to be like the real-time rendering engine, which is supposed to render very, very quickly. So it just goes to show, though, the power of what you can do without ray tracing. If you just sort of get a little bit creative, you can practically fake everything.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, and this is Chief's skeleton. Yeah.
He doesn't do much movement, but I wanted it that way,
Well, Chief's he's a pretty stoic guy. He's pretty sound in what he's doing.
Made of stone. I mean, he's like he doesn't have much emotion or animation to him.
No,
unless he's in a firefight.
And even in a firefight, he's pretty. He stands tall and strong. That's for sure.
Yeah, there's no drop shotting for him. That's for sure. There's no bumper jumping, drop shotting, strafing. He's attack straight at you. Yeah. His shield absorbs everything,
For sure. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to go over the three main things and look at the room and sort of relive a bit of the process that we went through to arrive at this product that I'm super happy with, and I know you are too. Is there anything that you want to ask me, like questions that you might have about? They could be technical questions, they could be like design, or just hypothetical, really anything, honestly.
No, I mean, we covered a lot of the aspects that I had immediate questions about. I mean, you did a great job showing me everything. Again, I'm very proud of this passion project you took on
Hmm.
for me. And as you can see, I mean, if you come to my stream, it's usually up if I'm not in the middle of a game. Like it's just sitting there,
Yeah.
and we're chatting and stuff. And I love to show it off. And I think it's definitely more aesthetically pleasing than just my face on the screen. I mean, or my game, sitting in the pregame lobby. It just brings a lot to a stream. And I thank you so much for working with me. And I don't have any really further questions on the technical aspects. I'll leave that up to you to dive into. But thanks again for everything, man.
No, that means a lot, man. It was, like I said, it was a passion project. I knew it was going to be challenging, and it was going to sort of push me. You were so particular with what you wanted. I knew that it was going to force me to really, really digest everything that you said. I was reading your emails like 10 or 15 times each to make sure I was really, getting the gist of what you wanted, so that we weren't going back and forth, just that many more times if I missed things, which I still did miss things here and there. But we of course were able to correct them. So
yeah, I'll be the first to say it. I'm extremely particular about stuff like this, or things that you have to look at for all day every day, right? A bit of OCD sprinkled in there. And I mean, you got someone like me that if you can please me with making a room with me and working on a lot of technical details and aspects to it, where I'm very particular. I mean, you can work with anybody, man.
no, it was a great challenge, and I loved every minute of it. It was fantastic, and I couldn't be happier with where we ended up. Honestly, it was just great. It was what Stream Vamp is all about. No matter what you want, where you come from, what you're looking for, we can work together and make your vision for your stream come true, basically.
Yeah, that's the absolute truth, man, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, man. Well, this was awesome. Thank you very much for your time. I'm going to be putting this on my YouTube channel, and, you'll see it up at some point, maybe tomorrow. But,
sure.
Yeah, man, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. You'll be the first interview I've ever had on my channel, so congratulations.
That's an honor. That's an honor, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're episode 1 of a long series, so.
Yeah, and I'm sure, like, down the road, your products will, like, we'll look back at this and we'll be like, this was groundbreaking at the time, but look at this stuff now. Like, it's like Jurassic Park, like 20 years later, you're like, this is great, still holds up well, but the new stuff is insane.
Yeah, for sure. One day we'll look back on this and go, wow, man, those were pretty good days, but man, we got some crazy stuff now.
Yeah, man.
All right, man. Well, that's all I got. So you take care and you get to bed. I know you're exhausted, so I appreciate you coming on anyways.
Yeah, no problem. Anything for you, bud.
Yeah, man. Anyways, you'll see me around your stream. I like to lurk here and there, so.
Yeah, as long as you don't catch me tilting too hard in COD, we'll be all right.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. You take care.
See you later.
See ya.
Oh, you too. Bye.
All right, guys. That was the interview with WEAVENNN. I hope you enjoyed it. There's going to be a lot more of these to come. So if you made it this far in the video, thanks for watching.